students, we have already discussed about the biography, autobiography, and few famous biographies and early life of Charles Darwin in the previous class. Now, in this session, in this video, we shall discuss about what is evolution theory and how did it, his evidences to prove the Darwin's theory in contrast with the divine theory, and the passion for research from his childhood. Myself, S.S. Kadri, we are going to discuss about Darwin's theory. I know that most of you have very well familiar with the theory of evolution. Let's have a brief note about the evolution theory. Evolution theory means the changes in flora and fauna that had occurred over millions of years on Earth. Evolution is the change in the heritable characteristics of biological populations over successive generations of genes that are passed on from parents to offspring during reproduction. Here, evolution doesn't happen in 1 or 2 years or in a decade or in a centenary. It took place millions of years on the earth. The gradual changes that took place on the living things and forms a new species is called evolution. Here, the successive generation of genes that are passed from one parent to offspring during the reproduction. It means the characteristics of the biological characteristics of the parents transfers to their offsprings, but with the little bit changes. And with the circumstances and atmosphere, they will have to adjust with that and change their biological characteristics, and hence the evolution takes place over of millions of years. The scientific theory of evolution by natural selection was conceived by Charles Darwin and Alfred Russel Wallace in the mid-19th century. Moreover, Darwin has contributed a lot for this theory. Before we are going, let's have a note over the origin of life. The main thing of origin of life is a huge explosion which had occurred and the universe is formed. That is also called as the Big Bang theory. After this Big Bang theory or the huge explosion, the stars, Earth, and many other stars formed 4.5 billion years ago. It is in a long period of chemical changes on Earth formed oxygen, water, and other gases. After the formation of Earth, it took around 5 billion years to form the life on Earth. The gradual changes in the environment, the formation of new gases, formation of water, cause for the origin of life. Life appeared after 500 million years of the formation of Earth. The life appears first in water, later on the creepers and some animals which can live both in water and earth. Then the life spread on earth. At last, they begin to fly. This is the brief history of origin of life. But Darwin's theory has the three challenges with the divine theory. The divine theory means the Christianity believed about the formation of life and earth. The three connotations of the religious theory or divine theory are these three are the challenges to the Darwin were all living organisms that we see today were created as such. The diversity was always the same since creation and will be the same in future. And the earth is only 4,000 years old. These three connotations are totally contrast with the Darwin theory. Hence, Darwin had to prove his theory against these challenges. Hence, based on his observation he has made during his epic voyage of about 5 years all around the world, Darwin concluded that evolution is a gradual process. It doesn't happen in a short period of time. It is a gradual process from a common species to various species according to his natural selection and the theory of tree. Darwin says only the fittest individual organisms survives. If an organism or a species cannot be fit with the atmosphere, cannot reproduce, it cannot be survive and it extinct. He has proved so many fossils of animals which are not present and they were millions of years ago. These characteristics which enable some to survive better in natural condition would outbreed others. If they cannot outbreed, they will extinct. But this is totally contrast with the divine theory. And the next, those who are better fit an environment leave more progeny than others. Some animals are going to be extinct because of that they could not cope up with or they could not be fit with the environment and their progeny is going to be diminishing and they are going to be extinct. The ability is called the natural selection, which is mechanism of evolution. The evolution depends on the mechanism of natural selection. An organ should have to be adjust with the nature and as per that it can modify its body, its biological condition, modify with the cosmic conditions. Hence the evolution happens. Darwin cannot be said this or cannot be quoted these all things as it is. Rather than he had the strong evidences to propagate his theory of evolution. He has collected a mountain of evidences from his 5 years epic voyage all over the world. He had collected the dead fossils, rocks, plants, living birds and animals. Their pictures are listed in his books. Among them, the most important thing to prove that the animals, though they are extinct and not now, and they were present millions of years ago before the human being, is that the fossils and remains of hard parts of life found in rocks. The different aged rock sediments contain fossils of different life forms. ಸಾವಿರಾರು ವರ್ಷಗಳ ಹಿಂದೆ ಕೆಲವು ಜೀವಿಗಳು ಇದ್ದು ಅನ್ನುವಂಥದ್ದಕ್ಕೆ ಪ್ರಾವೆಯನ್ನು ಕೊಡುವಂಥದ್ದು ಮುಖ್ಯವಾಗಿ ಅಂದರೆ ಕೆಲವು ಬಂಡೆಗಳ ಕೆಳಗಡೆ ಅಡಗಿರುವಂತಹ ಅವಶೇಷಗಳು, ಸತ್ತಿರುವಂತಹ ಪ್ರಾಣಿಗಳ ಅವಶೇಷಗಳು, ಆ ಪ್ರಾಣಿಗಳು ಈಗ ಇಲ್ಲದೇ ಇರುವಂಥದ್ದು, ಅಂತಹ ಪ್ರಾಣಿಗಳ ಅಸ್ಥಪಂಜರಗಳು ಒಂದು ಪ್ರಮುಖ ಪುರಾವೆ ಎನ್ನುವಂಥದ್ದು ಡಾರ್ವಿನ್ನ ವಾದ. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್, comparative anatomy and morphology shows similarities and differences among organisms of today and those that extincted years ago. The comparison of the body, the anatomy of the present animals and birds, which are very similar with the life forms of an millions of years ago. ಈಗಿರುವಂತಹ ಪಕ್ಷಿ, ಪ್ರಾಣಿಗಳ, ಮನುಷ್ಯರ ಅಸ್ಥಪಂಜರಗಳು ಅಥವಾ ದೇಹದ ಚಿತ್ರಣ, ದೇಹದ ಸ್ವರೂಪ ಸಾವಿರಾರು ವರ್ಷಗಳ ಹಿಂದೆ ಬದುಕಿರುವಂಥ ಪ್ರಾಣಿ ಪಕ್ಷಿಗಳ ದೇಹದ ಸ್ವರೂಪಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಲಿಕೆಯಾಗುವಂಥದ್ದು ಈ ಎರಡನೆಯ ಪ್ರಾವೆ ಎನ್ನುವಂಥದ್ದು, ಪ್ರಮುಖ ಪ್ರಾವೆ ಎನ್ನುವಂಥದ್ದು ಡಾರ್ವಿನ್ ವಾದಿಸ್ತಾನೆ. Homologous organs in plants and animals, which are most important evidence for his theory. ಹೋಮೋಲೋಗಸ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು? ಒಂದೇ ರೀತಿಯಾಗಿರುವಂತಹ ದೇಹದ ಅಂಗಗಳು, ಉದಾಹರಣೆಗೆ ರೆಕ್ಕೆಗಳ ಅಸ್ಥಪಂಜರ, ರೆಕ್ಕೆಗಳ ಎಲುಬುಗಳು ಈಗಿರುವಂತಹ ಪ್ರಾಣಿಗಳ ಮತ್ತು ಹಿಂದಿರುವಂತಹ ಪ್ರಾಣಿಗಳನ್ನು ಅದೇ ರೀತಿಯಾಗಿ ನಾವು ಕಾಣಬಹುದು. ಅದೇ ಆಧಾರವಾಗಿ ಮನುಷ್ಯ ಮತ್ತು ಮಂಗನ ಒಂದು ಅಸ್ಥಪಂಜರಗಳನ್ನು ಹೋಲಿಕೆ ಮಾಡಿ ಮಂಗನಿಂದ ಮಾನವ ಅನ್ನುವಂಥ ವಾದ ಡಾರ್ವಿನ್ ಅನ್ನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾನೆ. Study of comparative anatomy, fossils and comparative biochemistry provides evidences for evolution. He has studied the comparative anatomy of the birds and animals from which has been collected from the various places and their fossils, and the biochemistry which he has studied, which took place on this earth, has given him evidence to prove his theory. Now, let us move. The second important point of this video is the Darwin's passion for research from his childhood. You know that Darwin was very keen interested in natural study from his childhood. Charles Darwin was deeply influenced with the thinking of modern age. He wanted to think and innovatively. His 27 years research on origin and evolution shocked the audiences of Lenin's society, where he has first propagates that man is from an ape. ಇವನ ಲೆನಿನ್ ಸೊಸೈಟಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರುವಂಥ ಭಾಷಣದಲ್ಲಿ ಇವನ 27 ವರ್ಷದ ರಿಸರ್ಚನ್ನು ಒಂದೇ ಒಂದು ಭಾಷಣದಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳ್ತಾನೆ. ಆಗ ಅಲ್ಲಿಯ ಜನ ದಿಗ್ಭ್ರಮೆಗಳಾಗ್ತಾರೆ. And this was fascinating to the people of the England, because the people also thinking innovatively and a modern way. ಜನ ಕೂಡ ಒಂದು ಹೊಸತನವನ್ನು ಬಯಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರು. ಅವರಿಗೆ ಇದು ಒಂಥರ ಶಾಕು ಆಯಿತು ಮತ್ತು ಆಸಕ್ತಿದಾಯಕವಾಯಿತು. ಜನ ಆಲೋಚಿಸಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಪ್ರಾರಂಭಿಸಿದರು, ಅಧ್ಯಯನ ಮಾಡಿದರು. He was not a great student, but had the zeal of research on nature from his childhood. He used to examine the natural science, collecting bees, watching birds, and his favorite pastime. He spent his time with the nature rather than in the classroom. He used to read Gilbert White's book, who was a famous naturalist of his time, in his childhood itself, and he was influenced with them in his childhood. Hence, he had a keen interest in the nature. He wished that everyone should be an ornithologist. Everyone should take care about the animals and birds which surround us. His father, Robert Darwin, was a physician, and he was wanted his son to be a doctor. But Darwin was joined famous school called Dr. Butler's School as an apprentice to become a physician. He used to spend his time with nature rather than studies. He had a less interest in studies there, and he spent most of his time with the nature. Once he was scolded by the Dr. Butler because he had a secret experiment conducted in the backyard of the school with his elder brother, and he was caught and scolded by the Dr. Butler. This incident shows that his enthusiasm to innovative something with his experiments, with his experimented experience. Hence, I urge our students to think like him. ಈ ಒಂದು ಘಟನೆಯಿಂದ ನಮಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗುವುದೇನೆಂದರೆ, ಬಾಲ್ಯದಲ್ಲೇ ಹೊಸತನವನ್ನು ಕಂಡುಹಿಡಿಬೇಕು, ಸಂಶೋಧನೆ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನುವಂಥ ಆಸಕ್ತಿಯನ್ನು ಕಂಡುಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಅದೇ ರೀತಿ ನಮ್ಮ ವಿದ್ಯಾರ್ಥಿಗಳಿಗೂ ಕೂಡ ಸಂಶೋಧನಾತ್ಮಕವಾಗಿರುವಂಥ ಆಲೋಚನೆಗಳನ್ನು ಹೊಂದಿರಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನುವಂಥದ್ದನ್ನು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ತಿಳಿತೀವಿ. At the age of only 16, he was sent to Edinburgh to study medicine. But he had no interest in medicine. Rather, he was influenced by Audubon, who was a wildlife artist during 1785 and 1851. He used to attend his lectures. He was so much influenced with his articles and his lectures and his paintings. Later, he was delighted to wander hillside, rock springs and fishings. He spent his time at streams, watching the marine life, watching the birds, watching the bees, their life. He used to study them. Later, his father disappointed that he has no interest in medicine. Hence, he was sent to Cambridge University to study theology. Theology andre Dharmashastra. After completion of education, he hardly served for the ministerial. He did not serve the church, rather than he was keen interest, and he was famous for his interest in surveying nature. Hence, he got an opportunity from Professor Peacock, who was going to lead a project to survey the world, survey the map aboard the Beagle ship. Though Darwin was interested, but his father did not permit him. Hence, he wrote a letter to Mr. Peacock, Professor Peacock, and refused to join his. But when his uncle come to know that this was a great project and Darwin has rejected, he was the person who convinced Darwin's father and made him to join that project, which has become a life-changing incident to Darwin, and which has the decision which gave a lot of contributions to the scientific world. Hence, this is the video for this class. We shall meet in the next class with the new few things about the Darwin. Thank you one and all.